All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Griffin Murphy from docsports.com coming at you with a free college football selection for Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. This matchup is between Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech. I'm going to jump right into this breakdown, but after the breakdown, I'm going to talk about my Sunday NFL 8-unit game of the year loser and why I took that play and why I'd take it again. But first things first, let's get this free play out, and then we'll talk about that game because I have to cover that for everybody who was on board because it was brutal across all cylinders. We'll get to it right after this. Western Kentucky rolling into Louisiana Tech. So currently we have a high total at 50.5. That's an incentive that points are going to be scored in this matchup. And then we've got Louisiana Tech laying 3.5 points in this matchup. So it's really interesting because Western Kentucky, they're 5-2 on the season. Louisiana Tech, they're 4-2 on the season. So you look at this game, you already know it's going to be competitive. And then you have a high total at 50.5. So that brings us to the defense and where are the deficiencies? Well, for Western Kentucky, on a metric standpoint, they are the weaker team defensively. Then you go into this even deeper, and this is where I start smelling traps. Looked at the schedules. Western Kentucky's had a way easier schedule than Louisiana Tech, and Louisiana Tech still sits at 4-2. Another thing that's going to grab a lot of public attention as they go through these schedules is Louisiana Tech dealt with LSU early on in the season. They lost that game in a 24-7 final, something along those lines. So when it comes from class, you look at a team that's already dealt with a very high caliber team in class, and then you go through Western Kentucky's schedule, and they really haven't dealt with anybody tough this season. That gives you a little bit more of a balance, especially in public psychology, and that's where like, oh, well, Louisiana Tech played LSU, and they did X, Y, and Z, and only put up 24 points against their defense. Western Kentucky, they're 5-2, but they're barely beating teams. They played nobody all season long. So, and Louisiana Tech also has home field advantage in this game. So it gives you a lot of symbols of why to take Louisiana Tech and why to fade Western Kentucky. This is a public speculated game. This game's going off on a Tuesday. There's only 3 football games on Tuesday. So people are going to be looking for the game that has the smallest point spread where they can bet that with the least amount of fear and caution. And fear is our friend in this situation, and the fear play is taking Western Kentucky, and that's exactly why we're going to take them. We're going to buy the fear. We're going to sell the hype and buy the fear, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're going to take the 3.5 points here with Western Kentucky, as I believe this to be a trap game. Their defense on a metric standpoint looks brutal. It's actually a lot better than it seems. I've watched this Western Kentucky team. They have a disciplined secondary, and they have a very good core on that defensive interior. And then for Louisiana Tech, yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything bad about them. They've played good all season long, but what I'm betting on here is the number. And that number, that's raising some red flags. This number should be more like 5.5 Louisiana Tech, not 3.5. And for that reason, give me Western Kentucky here plus the points. Now, if you guys are a new member to Doc Sports, head on over to docsports.com/free60. There you can go grab yourself a free $60 account. You can use that free $60 on my premium selections. Those are my absolute best bets over at the website for absolutely free. Now let's talk about this game. So Tennessee, they rolled in at home in Nashville, had the Patriots coming into town. Patriots all week long. That number was sitting between 7 and 6.5. First things first, what do we know about that number? That is a teaser trap. So when you look at these teaser trap situations at 6.5, the majority of, and that was also the first game on the board for bettors, for public bettors when they opened up their app. First game on the board rolling into the 1 o'clock games was the Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans. So what is the first thing that comes to mind to any public bettor? All they need to do is tease the New England Patriots down to win that game outright against a team that literally should have no wins on the season, stole a win from the Cardinals, which was absolute debacle. So there's our first take. So immediately I looked at that game and I said, well, everybody and their grandmothers are going to be teasing the New England Patriots down to win that game straight up to lock up their first leg of their teaser. And then looking at that on top of it, you go even deeper. Mike Vrabel, huge speculation. The Titans, they fired him. He went and now he's with New England. So everybody's incentive is Vrabel's coming back to Tennessee. He is going to try to run up the scoreboard against this team and make a statement against his old team who released him and let go of him. And now he's with the team who's now 5-2 on the season. Well, 4-2 entering that game. So that was a speculation to public bettors for me where I seen everybody seeing that as a huge positive and I looked at it as a negative. Why Vrabel coming in, that's not going to cause anything when it comes to player versus player situations. Then another thing that I found, well, as the Tennessee Titans, as we all know, they fired their head coach. So they brought in a brand new head coach to run this team. So everybody on top of that, that brings in more speculation on why you should bet on the New England Patriots, when reality is that's the trap play, and that's how I looked at this. So bringing in that situation on top of that, new head coach, how is this team going to cover 7 points when they could just be teased down to a pick'em situation? And then another situation that I'm going to tell you guys right now, 78% of the public money handle as well as the sharp money was all on the Patriots, not only to win the game money line, 68% of it was on them money line, 78% of it was on them against the spread. So I saw that as another debacle of, okay, everybody's hammering them, everybody's teasing them down. I believed Tennessee was going to pick up. And then last week, Tennessee, they played their best game of the season despite not even winning the game. They looked good. Cam Ward looked good. The run game with Pollard in the backfield, that was what I caught most attraction to. And I believe that he was going to be able to disrupt that defensive interior for the New England Patriots. So I had 5-6 confluences, not even going into my individual stat breakdown, where my algorithm generated this thing, and it generated as a 3-point differential for the New England Patriots' favor, and we were catching 7. So, ladies and gentlemen, I had every single reason to take the Tennessee Titans in that situation. It was a psychology type of play, it was an algorithm type of play, and it was an eye-to-eye type of play. I was wrong, but I would tell you guys this. I would play that sequence 10 times in a row, and I would not look back on it. I took a hit, absolutely, and I know we all did. If you guys don't think that I am coming back for fire this weekend, entering that, I was 8-4 or 8-0, I'm sorry, in college football entering that weekend on an 8-0 run, 13-4 entering the college football weekend. I'm 13-6 in college football this season, and I want to say 10-4 in NFL. No. It was 9-4 or 9-3, something like that. Now, overall, for the entire season, I'm 13-6 in college football, and I'm 10-6 in NFL. I am a combined between both of them up $4,000 on the season with a 23-12 record. So I am not looking at one bad weekend. I know everybody else does, and I get it. It was a terrible beatdown. I'm devastated, but at the same time, I've picked it back up. I am ready to rock and roll this weekend. If you guys want to get on board with me, use that free docsports.com/free60. Go get yourself a free $60 account and jump on my package this weekend. But if not, no hard feelings. Completely understand, but we're bringing out winners this weekend. As always, this is Griffin Murphy from docsports.com. Best of luck to you guys this weekend, and once again, best bets.